next session, Evolving FinTech Landscape in GIFT City. And it's our honor to have our esteemed speakers amongst us. We request your presence on stage. Let's welcome Moderator, Chief Technology Officer, International Financial Services Centers Authority, Mr. Joseph Joshy, to please join us on stage. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. And all our panelists, Mr. Kamal Singhania, Senior Vice President, CCIL, Mr. Manav Narang, Head of India Plug and Play, Mr. Satyen Patel, Executive Chairman, Eton Solutions LP, and Mr. Shailesh Paul, CEO, Wibmo, PayU Digital. A warm welcome to all our panelists as well. Let's give them a round of applause, and we'll request Mr. Joseph to lead the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. You know, I got an upgrade from business to first class. I was supposed to be part of the panel, and I got upgraded as a moderator. So here I am, probably moderating for the first time at GFF. So it feels good to be in control. And as a regulator, that's what we all cherish, than being at the receiving end of getting questions. We are good to ask questions, so let's see how we do it. By the way, I'm Joseph Joshi. I'm the Chief General Manager and CTO at IFSCA, the authority at IFSC GIFT City. Quick question, how many of you in this crowd have visited GIFT City? Show of hands? Okay, some of you have done. And I'm sure most of you have heard about GIFT City. Yesterday, FM had launched. The man of the moment is sitting next to me. People who worked behind the scenes. We have the foreign currency settlement system, you know, dollars getting settled in less than 3 seconds. So these are all revolutionary things happening. Just to set the context, today we are talking about evolving fintech landscape in GIFT. And this is a story which is oft repeated, but worth hearing again for those who would have missed out. When the Honorable Prime Minister was the Chief Minister in Gujarat, that's when GIFT City was born, and he gave the task to name it. So the people came up with Gujarat International Finance City. But then it was the visionary idea of the Prime Minister that in future, so this is in 2007-8 when they were naming the city, and he clearly called it out that in future, finance and tech, there won't be any finance without tech. So that's why I wanted to be called GIFT, with finance and tech city. So GIFT stands for Gujarat International Finance Tech City. So fintech is baked into the city already, right? So that's how it is set up. So with that kind of a context, let's quickly move to get a quick intro about this esteemed panelist over here. We'll go from my left to right to start with. Over to you.
Thank you, Joseph. So thank you for the introduction, but I'll just add to that. My name is Kamal Singhania, and I'm with CCIL, the Clearing Corporation of India Limited. And should we introduce about our company also, or just ourselves at this moment? Okay.
Probably your background, so that they know your rich experience.
So I've been working for CCIL for last 25 years, and even company's existence is for 25 years. Prior to that, I was with IDBI Bank for a few years. So I have more than 3 decades of experience in the industry. Background-wise, I'm a chartered accountant, cost accountant, FRM, and mainly predominantly working in the treasury area. And I also handle now, as you mentioned, foreign currency settlement system in GIFT City. And we had a proud moment yesterday when Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, launched the foreign currency settlement system. So that's what from our side.
Over to you, Manav.
Okay, thanks everyone. I'm Manav. I head India for Plug and Play. We started this new initiative in GIFT City earlier this year called IFIH, International FinTech Innovation Hub, which is backed by GIFT City and Asian Development Bank. Plug and Play, I don't know how many of you would know, but we are a Silicon Valley-based investor. We have over 2,000 portfolio companies, about 40 unicorns, invested firstly in a very unknown company called PayPal. So we started off as an investor. They were born in our building. And since then, today we work with over 50 governments, 700 corporates, investing 200 startups a year. And we recently took this opportunity to come to India, like I would say the only top 10 economy in the world where we were not present on ground, and very excited to say that we finally are. I've been almost always been in India, worked in consulting, early stage startups, tried to do my own startup, which failed miserably, but immense learning. Worked in the VC space, so I've been on all sides of the many-sided coin, I would say. So, but very excited about how GIFT City and the landscape there is expanding. Thanks.
Thank you. Manav.
Thanks. I'm Satyen Patel. I'm here as a representative of Eton Solutions as the exec chairman. For me, in many ways, this is like coming home. I was born and brought up in Bombay, grew up. That's how I remember it, not Mumbai, right? In those days, it was Bombay. It's still in my heart, it's still Bombay. I grew up in Bandra, Pali Hill, went to Bombay Scottish, did my undergraduate in engineering, and in those days, you traveled abroad to get your master's, and some of us came back and some of us didn't. And I decided to stay back, spent 18 years in the corporate world between the Pillsbury Company, PepsiCo in New York, and Nike, the sports company. So that brought me back to Asia, running Nike Asia Pacific out of Singapore for something like 7 years. Before, I set up my own PE firm back in Singapore in 2002, and I've been in PE for about 20 plus years now. So that's the journey.
Excellent. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Satyen. I'm probably the least qualified on this panel. I'm Shailesh. I work for PayU. I run our PayTech business is called Wibmo. So just a little bit about who we are and then why the least qualified disclaimer. We're a payments company. We operate in payment aggregation. We're licensed to do that in India. In that sphere, we're amongst the more prominent payment aggregators in the country. We're also a lender. We lend to consumers, short-term loans and installments, BNPL, if you like. We also lend to SMBs, and we're in trade finance, so that's our second business. The third is that we are a PayTech services provider. We do that in India, in the Middle East, in Africa, and in Asia. So that's our business. We are better known for the authentication services that we provide. 4 out of 5 transactions in India, card transactions, end up being authenticated by us on behalf of the banks that issue those cards. So that's a little bit about the company. We have a base of about 2,000 odd employees. We're based in Gurgaon, Noida, in Bangalore, in Chennai, and in Mumbai. The reason I was the least qualified is because we're the one company that's not in GIFT City, and I think that was Joseph's sort of cunning plan to get us here. Well, thank you for inviting us, and we're one of the companies that is very interested in this area and learning from each of the panelists. Personally, I've been in payments pretty much my entire career. I moved from Singapore most recently. I was at Visa, which I saw the logo on the screen for an excessively long period of time. And then prior to that, consumer banking and MasterCard as well.
Great. So we have a very distinguished set of people here as panelists, no doubt. And the cunning plan, as you said, was he was the odd man out because he's not in GIFT, right? And most of you are like that. So I want to ask him why he is not in GIFT in front of all of you and put him on spot. So that was the cunning plan. But before that, since he also spoke about his line of business, we should do justice to the others. So let me go the other way. Probably, Satyen, you would want to talk about your business.
Yeah, so we're based out of Research Triangle Park in North Carolina, and our international headquarters is out of Singapore. So global headquarters in the US, international headquarters out of Singapore. We service all our clients globally out of Singapore. We are essentially a FinTech. We are an ERP system in the wealth management space. We service ultra-high net worth individuals. Our 2 largest clients are over $100 million in assets. Our bell curve average size of the family offices we support has about $3.5 billion in AUM. But we have democratized the platform. So when we designed this platform, it was for wealth management. We developed it for billionaires. And we are actively in the process now of democratizing that to serve all ultra-high net worth individuals with a net worth of $30 million and above everywhere in the world. So that's a little bit of our background. Why am I here? Well, we happen to have global tech centers already in India. We've been here for about 7 or 8 years in Bangalore and Shimoga. And when Nishit Desai of Nishit Desai and Associates brought this to our attention, he's a big champion of GIFT City, as you know. He says, Satyen, you should think about this one for diversifying your risk in India, but also it has some great tax advantages, et cetera. But it's also going to create an ecosystem for fintech companies and fintech services companies to establish in GIFT City, displacing Mauritius for a lot of inflows, et cetera, et cetera. And it may be a natural fit for you because you might also find a natural captive market in GIFT City. We don't have a single client in GIFT City yet. We just got ourselves established with the first 30 or 40 employees beginning about 2 months ago. We're scaling up to about 100 employees by the end of this year and then moving on. Currently, we're leveraging GIFT City to service all our global clients. And it's a continuation of the India story about leveraging Mindware. And to our surprise and benefit, we've found recruiting locally has been great between the IIT Gandhinagar campus, the Dhirubhai Ambani Technology campus, the Nirma Institute campus. And if you're in financial services and you're looking for people with a good mercantile sense, we found recruiting locally there to find talent that's actually as good or better than what we found in Bangalore, right, so far. And we're very new in the game, early stages, but it has a lot of potential. Right?
Yeah, that's a very nice way to put it about how the talent is. But I'm not sure if you all caught it. He's talked about wealth management, family offices of billionaires, right? I know probably his NDA might not permit to tell names, but I'm sure there are some Hollywood A-listers as well whose wealth is getting managed from GIFT City. I guess so. But that's how the ecosystem is evolving. And I'm sure this is...
That's a good point. I mean, so we have 965 families on our platform, $1.3 trillion being managed on our platform. Right. So yeah, it's a who's who list internationally, but I'm proud to say we launched our product in 2024 in India, and our first 2 clients in India are also the first 2 clients that have family offices in GIFT City, and they are Catamaran, Narayan Murthy's family offices on our platform, and so is Azim Premji's. So Premji Invest is also on our platform, right? So yes, we've been fortunate to have 2 of India's largest family offices, and more importantly, technology giants' family offices, which means we passed the litmus test. They gave us the equivalent of a technology stack colonoscopy, and we passed it, right? So that's good news.
Amazing. So just to give you some perspectives, today in GIFT, IFSC, the IFSC is the international zone which we have given registrations to close to about 1,000+ entities. So it's not that it's just getting started. As a regulator, we have already issued close to that. And I'm not sure if you know this, if you look at the external commercial borrowing which India does today, more than 1/3 of that flows through GIFT. So there's talent, there is capital, all of it flowing through GIFT. And the whole idea of creating this jurisdiction was to bring back that capital and talent which went out of the country to offshore, back to the onshore. That's why we have the offshore in the onshore. So that's the context here. Now let me move on to Manav to understand his business proposition at GIFT.
Yeah, okay. So you mentioned about the capital and the talent. I think we bring in the innovation side of things. So starting 2025, over the next 5 years, we are going to support a minimum of 250 startups. And these startups will range from very early stage ideation level founders coming in just with an idea, us taking their MVP, product market fit, to growth, helping growth stage startups with connections to corporates and VCs, and then the late stage startups, and there are quite a few who are domestic India now, they are setting up in GIFT, helping them with global market access. We have over 70 offices globally, and we want to give them a soft landing in other markets. So that's one side of the things. And the other is we are setting up a $50 million AIF, where we will invest in about 75 plus minus startups from the pool of 250 to 300 that we will support over the next 5 years.
Excellent. So GIFT, IFIH, and IFI, these are acronyms which are very much part of the GIFT lexicon today. IFI is the International FinTech Institute. It's a consortium between, I think, UC San Diego, IIT Gandhinagar and Ahmedabad University, and the IFIH, which is the International FinTech Innovation Hub, is run by Manav and team with all the plans which he just said. So when we say we are building an ecosystem, it's not just about building and bringing the company, as he rightly said, talent or capital. It's also about fueling the innovation. And rightly because of that, if you are following the GFCI index, this is the Global Financial Centers Index, where they rank the top 120 financial centers in the world. GIFT City, in the recent publication, which came out in September, is ranked 43 in the world, right? It might come as a surprise for those who are not tracking that. And they also have a ranking for FinTech, right, apart from being a financial center. And for FinTech, GIFT City is ranked number 35 in the world. So that's how things are moving up, and it's really happening. And now to the man of the moment. He's been there all around. We want to know more about the business. CCIL is a known entity, MII in India, but they have set up their IFSC component here. And with FCSS, I know they're going to do magic. So please, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. I think before I discuss about the FCSS or the foreign currency settlement system, it will be important to know that what CCIL does. So CCIL is a 25-year-old company now, and we are the only CCP in the OTC area, that is over-the-counter market. So you have equity market, you have commodity market, and then you have OTC market, which covers, say, foreign exchange settlement, interbank foreign exchange settlements. Then you have government securities and repo market. You have derivatives in the OTC market, and you also have money market in the OTC market. And just to give an idea that on a daily basis, the volume what CCIL settle is more than $150 billion, which is in equivalent INR terms will be say about maybe 15 to 16 lakh crore every day we are settling. So on a gross volume which we are settle every day. And predominantly we settle for banks and financial institutions. We are mainly in the wholesale area, and that is why many of you may not be knowing about the CCIL and the role CCIL plays in the financial market. So we are also now entering into retail segment with some of you might have heard about Retail Direct, that is investment in GSEC. You can, as an individual, you can do investment in GSEC through the platform Retail Direct. And we also launched a platform for buying and selling foreign exchange for retail, MSME, and all the corporate clients. So you can directly just log into our system, register in the system, and you can actually log in and buy and sell foreign currency directly on the platform. Okay, so this is the background for the CCIL, and with such a strong background of CCIL, now we have opened a company called CCIL IFSC in GIFT City. So it has all the backing of CCIL, CCIL management, CCIL talent, CCIL experience. So with that, all this these resources, this company has launched yesterday the foreign currency settlement system. Now, what is foreign currency settlement system? Just to give you a background, that currently, if an entity in GIFT City wants to transfer dollar to another entity, say in GIFT City, okay, so how does it happen? So it happens through the normal route of Nostro accounts. That means the first entity will have Nostro account in US, and the second entity will have another Nostro account in US. That the instruction will go to US, then fund will be transferred from one Nostro to another Nostro, and then the final beneficiary fund will be transferred. And if you are customer of these entity, then another layer on the both side, okay? And what I was told that the maximum time which could take to transfer fund from one customer to another customer, though both the customers are in GIFT City, and still it can take 48 hours, okay? So now what we are doing, it is a real-time gross settlement system, near real-time. Now a customer can transfer fund sitting in GIFT City to another customer in GIFT City, maybe in 3 seconds. So it is as fast as possible. Okay. So the GIFT City has all the infrastructure in terms, say, offices, infrastructure, roads. I think they have excellent network, I think, with the IT head is sitting here. They have an excellent network which is very fast. And to support this, I think there was a long pending demand that there should be a financial system or the payment system which could transfer funds within GIFT City faster and securely. So we have developed the system. It was launched yesterday. We have few transactions yesterday. Now, what I again understand that almost 80 to 90% of the transactions in GIFT City are currently in dollar. You can't deal in rupee, as you know. So 80 to 90% of the transactions are dollar. So we have started with dollar as a currency, and going forward, we'll add other currencies also, other major currencies. Time-wise, essence you know that it is near real time. Funds will be transferred so that you can use the fund. The fund, usability of fund is very, very important. Liquidity is very, very important. So with this system, fund will be transferred immediately. You can use the fund immediately. That is this thing. We have used a state-of-the-art technology. So we have our own data center where we'll be hosting these systems. We have our own closed user group network. So we are not using any public network. So we have our own network, CUG network. This will give security and maybe speed which is required for this system. Then we also plan to add other currencies. Maybe this currently, this system is only for the entities in GIFT City. We may expand to India as a jurisdiction. So all the banks in India can also participate. And then maybe with the regulators, discussion with regulators and blessings, we can also expand to maybe other Asian countries or other countries. And we can also settle transactions generated or required in other Asian countries or Middle East countries. So that is the near-time plan for FCSS. Thank you.
Excellent. So this gives you some idea of what all is happening. And we were very conscious when we gave the name FCSS. We never said dollar settlement. We said foreign currency, because the plan is definitely to do multiple currencies. So today, probably, there are just 3 or 4 centers who do this dollar settlement outside the US. Probably Hong Kong does both dollar and US dollar and euros. Yes, GBP also. So probably if GIFT IFSC, GIFT City is going to get benchmarked with these financial centers, then we better have that infrastructure and those capabilities. So that's what is the building block which we are putting in place. And I did hear one clap when he said to other jurisdictions. So for that one clap, let me tell you an insider information. Definitely, yes, there will be connects from FCSS to other jurisdictions in the roadmap. In fact, while I cannot talk about the details, we did have a very interesting conversation with some parties and my chairperson this morning on that topic itself, right? So today it is only between the IBUs in GIFT, but then there is always the interlinkages which we can do. Just imagine a PSP sitting in GIFT City. They need not open an office in another jurisdiction. They need not pre-fund their accounts here and there, and you are plugged into this, and this FCSS is plugged into a foreign jurisdiction, right? You're talking about passporting to a different level. You're talking about liquidity management at a very different level. The possibilities are just infinite. Like, it's only our imagination which will limit. Well, now that we got an idea, and I have Shailesh over there, you've heard all these things. So what do you think you would need more from either the GIFT infrastructure or the regulator or from the government for people like you to come into GIFT? Like, this could be a question which most of you might have. So what is your pulse of this? Like, what is attractive? What is not so attractive? What can be improved? Your thoughts?
And so I'm on the audience on this, right?
Show me the money.
No. So, firstly, I think there's a lot that's going for GIFT City. And this is a model that's worked very well in some of the global hubs. And I think I think there's a sense of pride that we have it now in India. So I think kudos to you and everyone else who's been involved in making GIFT City what it is, comparable to the likes of the Dubais and the Singapores and all of these other big global hubs. If we look at and again, I'm generalizing, it's not so much of a PayU or Wibmo conversation only. What do you need in the business that we're in? We need talented people. Right? That's probably question number one. And I was talking to Satyen, for example, and Manav earlier on, and from the conversations one's had outside, I think the base of available talent within GIFT City, Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, broader geographical zone, it seems very high. There's a lot of A-grade educational institutions where there's quality output. So I think that is one of the big questions. A lot of entry-level talent seems to be available, so that's a check. The second piece is this: is this a location that we can get talent from elsewhere and then have them move in? A lot of the talent pool of the kind of work that we do sits today in Bangalore, Gurgaon, or NCR, Bangalore, NCR, Mumbai. Would we have people that are open to relocating from one of those locations into GIFT City? And I've also heard that that is actually a yes. Maybe there's a life stage component to it. If you're 28 and you feel like you want to go out to a pub at night and you have a different lifestyle, that is one consideration set. But if you're getting into family life and you actually like the stability and you like the quality of life, I think that's a check yes as well. So I'm not even getting to the financial benefits of it. The financial benefits are the obvious ones, right? Those is connectivity, both virtual as well as to the largest business center. It's getting better as more as highways keep getting better. The train that we were talking about, that gets executed. So I think there's a lot of reasons why this makes sense. I think perhaps for companies like ourselves, it's sort of taking the leap and getting out of these established technology centers in India like Bangalore and then taking the first jump out. I think that is only a question of time. And once you get your feet wet, I think then there is that journey is fairly, that's a very positive journey from there onwards. So I'd say that those are some of the considerations and a lot of positivity so far based on what I've learned.
Great. See, I thought post-lunch, probably the room will be empty, but it's full. So since you were talking for the audience, probably I not want to deny them the benefit of not being able to ask questions in the end because we ran out of time. So with the permission of the panel, is there a question from the audience right now? We can take a question. Okay, yeah, please, go ahead.
Hi, I am Rishabh, chartered accountant from Gurugram. I advise a lot of AI startup, and this time I'm seeing whether it's a prefix or suffix, AI is there in FinTech. And so now there are a lot of innovative startups which we come across, but somehow they find that the regulation are not there yet, and they want to do some innovation. So whether the GIFT City provide some sort of a approach towards these innovative startup, the brain who are like, they don't know the rule, but the rule will evolve. Actually, the innovation will be always ahead of the rules and regulations. So do we have some sort of an environment being created in GIFT City?
Okay, so probably now, please sit down. Yeah, thank you very much for your question. Now you make me a panelist as well, to answer that question. So thanks for that. So if you really look at it, right, when the Honorable Finance Minister said this has to become a FinTech hub in one of the budget speeches, we introduced something called as a FinTech entity framework. Being a unified regulator, it's very difficult to straddle across banking, capital markets, insurance, funds, and then create a framework. So we kept it very generic, but allowed all of these. But while we were working on that framework, we also understood that when we say FinTech, the companies which you just said, the AI-based, or the tech guys who are also helping, probably in the RegTech space, in cybersecurity, all those things, some of the RegTechs are also called as FinTechs, which we felt was a little unfair, because when you say FinTech, and we say cross-border FinTechs, the kind of curbs or the kind of requirements I will put in as a regulator will be at a higher level, because you are moving customers' funds. As a regulator, I'm worried about investor protection, consumer protection, market stability or market integrity, financial stability, things like that. Whereas if you're an AI company, why should you have the same level of kind of constraint? So that's where we introduced the concept called of TechFin. at that point in time in 2022, where it is technology for financial institutions. So FinTech and TechFin, we separated that so that the risk management is better, right? So that the cost of regulatory compliance for these companies are lower. You need not really be piling up all those complementary stuff. Now, to enable this kind of innovation, what we did was we set up the sandboxes. We had a innovation sandbox, testing in kind of synthetic data or test data. Then we had a regulatory sandbox, and we have two other sandboxes which probably you might not have heard of. One is called as the IORS, Interoperable Regulatory Sandbox, where we have a FinTech bridge with MAS, Singapore, Monetary Authority of Singapore. So our regulatory sandbox and MAS regulatory sandbox are connected through that FinTech bridge. That is the overseas referral. And then the IORS, which is the Interoperable Regulatory Sandbox, which connects IFSCA with the 4 domestic sector regulators, RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and PFRDA. So we have all those things in, the sandboxes are there. A best example for you is when we started IFSC, we didn't have a department or a division for payments. It was not there. But in this sandbox, we had a lot of applications from cross-border fintechs. So the way it happened was they went through the sandbox experiment, and along with the regulator, they also learned, we also learned, and they also co-created the regulations itself. So when they were about to exit, as a regulator, our job was to ensure the regulations are in place, right? So that's where we created a new division for payments. We came up with the PSP regulations. And we also learned some things. So for example, there were 2 entries who were doing business in escrow, the sandbox guys. So in our PSP regulations, if you see, we have already enabled escrow, which might not be the case in domestic side of payment services. So there are a lot of learnings which happen through our sandboxes. And we have also looked at AI, specifically to your question. And since we have gotten this TechFin as a category now, we have also launched a regulation called TechFin and Ancillary Services Regulation, TAS. All the AI companies, your cybersecurity companies, can get approval or registration under that and come into GIFT City. We have given an in-principle approval to the first company, which is in Gen AI space, already in GIFT IFSC. They're in the process of setting it up. Typically, they are trying to use Gen AI to kind of optimize the compliance workflow and things like that. So it is not that it is not there, it is happening. Probably we need to do a good job of disseminating that information. And probably I'll take another 30 seconds because you asked this question. We are one of those few regulators who have a regulation for creating regulation. Okay, I hope you get what I mean by that. It says like every 3 or 5 years you have to review your regulation. Before you put something out, you have to get a public consultation, get feedback. So that's already baked into the process, right? So a lot of our fellow regulators are also following those, but we already did that. And as part of that, we have kind of published a sandbox framework, a FinTech sandbox framework now. We have upgraded this FinTech entity framework now to TAS, because TechFin is going there. So just for FinTech, we have just put it, the last date to give comments is October 10th. You still have time, so you can look at the sandboxes and the frameworks in other jurisdictions, and if you think there is something we need to do in GIFT, please share your comments. We are all ears. I hope that answers your question. All right, great. One more question. Okay, we'll take this before we go to the panel. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, hi. Joseph, and to all the panelists. This is Sumit. I represent Kotak Mahindra Bank, and I take care of the NR business over there. So while GIFT, yes, I find that this has enabled largely the NR customers, and then some of the spaces, including the financial currency settlement systems, and then the easy access to the Indian resources. One space where I find the NR customers are finding it very difficult is the investment space, because the various guidelines being set by the various geographies. So just wanted to understand how you find this GIFT City addresses this problem statement of various NR customers, especially if I talk about the developed economies like US, Canada, and then European nations. And there we find that a good number of NR affluent set of customers are residing in those parts. And when we also see that India becoming a bigger hub with respect to the investments, and they also want to be the part of this journey, However, because of, as I said, the guidelines, the paperwork, the non-digitized journey and all, so which I think up to certain extent Gift City can address, but I just wanted to understand the roadmap, how you are looking at this particular problem statement.
Okay, so I guess that's again for me. Oh my God. All right, so it's a very valid point which you raised, and this is something we found in our sandbox because we had some RegTechs who came in to do KYC, and they had to run into rough weather because of the exact points which you said, because we talked about digitization in India context, but from an NRI foreign customer, because this is an international territory. So if we analyzed that, and then there was this challenge of if there is a foreign IP in your video call, then that is not kosher. That's what some of our laws said. So we had to, again, go back to the drawing table. And let me tell you, we are very close to coming up with that video KYC for GIFT IFSC for NRIs. We are trying up with the eSetu and trying to see how seamlessly this can be made, because we have identified there were two key problems. One was this KYC issue, because of which the flow is not as much as we would want to. And second is, of course, the payments infrastructure, like more PSPs and banks giving probably internet banking for the the IFSC, because the IFSC is different jurisdiction than the domestic. So while you might have the cutting edge internet banking in domestic, this has to be ring fenced because it's foreign jurisdiction. So all the banks are gearing up, the PSPs are gearing up, and the KYC is also getting sorted out. In fact, our chairman in our interview yesterday said that face authentication is going to be enabled very quickly. So it has been moved up to multiple levels. Ministry, the I's are getting dotted and T's are crossed. You will hear the news very soon. All right, thank you. So now getting back to the panel so that I know they don't get bored. So Satyen, what are your future plans? Now you gave some plans and this is what you're thinking, but how do you see the future for you so that people here can understand?
Well, internally we made a decision that all our expansion will happen out of GIFT City, right? Initially servicing our global clients from there. So that's one thing. Obviously tax is driving that. We get a 10-year tax holiday, so that's a great incentive to start having that. But as we come in each and every time and you suddenly start saying there's 35 banks moving to 45 banks pretty soon established there, you see 300 plus funds coming in over there. And if we are servicing those markets, which we are, it automatically creates a captive market. So we see that as a Canary Wharf in the middle of nowhere, Gujarat, right? And think about within walking distance, how many clients do we have? Plus GIFT City has got an interesting rule there that if you are a company outsourcing some of these things and you're not doing it in-house, then you have to outsource that within GIFT City. So if you are officially there as a FinTech and a TechFin, which we are, we can service all these funds and banks just like we would be servicing those banks in North Carolina or New York. So it suddenly expands our market within GIFT City also, which is a global market, right? So when you're talking about these 300 funds, it's everything from small $50 to $100 million funds to ADIA coming in there now, right? The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, the sovereigns coming in over there. So it's a natural ecosystem that will grow. And it's kind of interesting. Everybody talks about the success of the United States in the Silicon Valley network to mushroom innovation, right? The fact that you now have incubators like you guys coming in, transformed and transported from the US in this thing, you see the makings of an ecosystem that over 5 years will evolve. Indirect stuff also helps. Infrastructure helps. The ecosystem of education helps. Logistics helps. When the Shinkansen or the bullet train starts at the beginning of 27 connecting Mumbai, India's financial center, to Ahmedabad, and you can go nonstop from GIFT City to Bombay in 2 hours and back. That will create its own dynamo of companies moving in there, having other incentives to move there, because as you know, these metros are getting unwieldy to some extent. And look, it's another captive market to attack also in terms of mindware. It's not just GIFT City and Gandhinagar and Ahmedabad, but you can then tap into universities in Baroda and Rajkot and God alone knows where. There's a whole infrastructure of universities in a catchment area of about 200 to 300 miles that you can go after. So if you're in the business of acquiring mindware, which we are, to service the world, it just expands our ability to go beyond Bangalore, Shimoga, Hyderabad, Chennai, Pune, to now into a newer market, right? So it's harvesting, right? Plus, it creates a business for us that we can grow. And as we become the platform of choice for some of these funds in GIFT City, it automatically takes us back to their parent companies in Europe, in Asia, in the US, right? So it sometimes is a backdoor entry, right? To go to the giants in their home base, right? So.
Great. And I know Shailesh had a product launch at 3. I hope you still have a few more minutes. Yeah, so let me quickly go to Manav and share some plans which you have for the future from your
So
IFI.
actually, a few weeks ago, GIFT City asked us, you guys operate out of Silicon Valley, Singapore, Tokyo. Can you help us benchmark those places against GIFT City? So we came back saying that let's not benchmark because those locations have been running innovation or startups or have policies which have taken years and decades to build. You mentioned the story about GIFT City being sort of conceived in 2006-07. But what you didn't mention is what happened in Singapore, where the then Chief Minister was there. He saw that why can't we create something similar? So I'll do a very quick background on how Plug and Play created the Silicon Valley in Silicon Valley. So our building that exists there is opposite Stanford University. And 4 startups in the late 1990s started there. Google, when there were 13 employees, they were based out of our building. PayPal started there. Logitech started there. And this startup called Danger, which is the OS that Andy Rubin started, sold it to Microsoft, then started Android. So from then to now, that building still exists. It's called the Lucky Building. You can check it out because they say that's where innovation started. But it's taken 10, 15 years for them to create something where even corporates want to have a single desk in that building so that they are close to innovation. Every Friday evening, university startup pitches happen. SV Summit has 5,000 plus people every 6 months. And that is what I want to showcase to GIFT City, that's what we want to create here. We will use our GIFT City office. So we have a 10,000 square feet innovation hub. Anyone who's visiting, please let us know. Happy to host you guys. We want to use the GIFT City office to actually create the Plug and Play headquarters for India. Not only for India, for actually Southeast Asia, for South Asia. We've been looking to setting up something in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Bhutan, in Nepal. But we want to use GIFT City as the international zone to be able to become the center for us and lead by example that, if we can use this as our hub, other companies should as well.
Great. And yeah, I think it's a great vision they have. And any thoughts from the man of the hour? Like lots have been talked about FCSS, but any final words you have for the audience?
Yeah. It's like...
Thank you, Shailesh.
If you ask me what is your plan, future plan, or these things, so it's like regulator asking a company in GIFT City that what is your 3-year plan and 5-year plan. And once I submit the plan, I have an action point, okay, so on those plans. So joke apart, so we have so many things other than foreign currency systems, expansion, etc. and all. We can plug in and we can also partner with some of the FinTech companies to expand these systems to the entities which are not part of the GIFT City maybe going forward. But other than that, there are many the securities which are being traded or traded in GIFT City. So we would like to maybe provide settlement of those securities on a gross basis or net basis, on a guaranteed, non-guaranteed basis. We also would like to have a trade repository service, which we are already providing for in India. So there are many trades and other activities which are happening. So trade repository is one of the areas which we are looking at. And then there are cross-currency settlement, then there are NDS, OIS settlements, etc. So we are looking, and then also maybe, again, it's an exploratory stage. We have the government securities trading platform or buying and selling securities. Maybe this can be provided in dollar form. So the NRIs and FPIs can buy these government securities in the dollar form, not on rupee form. So these are some of the plans we are exploring, and I think, and as a financial market infrastructure, we'd like to expand by providing any infrastructure, financial market infrastructure in GIFT City, and we are committed to that. Thank you.
Excellent. So just, we are running out of time, so to wrap it up, here you're seeing an ecosystem which has got banks, which has got exchanges, market infrastructure institutions, depositories, settlement people, you have insurance, reinsurance players, you have funds. My team told they just crossed 300 funds a couple of weeks ago, right? And we are talking about foreign universities, fintechs, tech fins, the big ITITS guys are there, which means there's a job market which is going to get created. We are talking about BATF, that is separate segment which is coming up. You're going to hear a lot of things. And I'm sure I didn't talk about the bullion exchange. There's a lot of things on the bullion which is going to come up. And already there is a consultation paper on asset tokenization which is out. So there's some thoughts going on around that area. So overall, I think it's going to be a hotbed of innovation, and rightly so. That's why it's going to be a hot fintech ecosystem. With this, let me wrap up. Thank you so much for being there in the crowd, and thank you for the panelists too.